A lot of people want to be a country's leader, but not many get the chance. Sometimes the only way you can become the leader of your country is if something horrible happens to the person who currently holds that position. And while it might be tempting to think that this sort of thing only happens in places like North Korea or the UK, the truth is there are plenty of countries where the current ruler could meet an untimely end, and a new one take their place. With that said, here are 5 countries whose rulers were assassinated. Number 5. The Netherlands. The Netherlands has had a queen for all of its existence. That's right, they don't have a king. It's always been a queen. And while most of them died of natural causes, one was actually poisoned by her own son. Her name was Maria, and she ruled from 1890 to 1947, which means that she was queen for over 50 years. During this time, she gave birth to 4 children with her husband, William III. But after having spent so much time ruling, she was ready to abdicate. She wanted her son, Julian, to take the throne instead, but he refused to accept unless his sister, Wilhelmina, would agree to abdicate first. Now, Maria had always favored Wilhelmina because she was her oldest daughter and the one who had accompanied her on official duty since she was little. So when Wilhelmina refused to step down, Maria decided to intervene. She traveled to Switzerland, where Wilhelmina was living at the time, hoping to convince her to return to the Netherlands and give up the throne. But while on vacation, Maria fell ill and died just a few weeks later. While it was never proven that Julian had anything to do with his mother's death, it's generally accepted that he had a hand in it. Not only did he stand to benefit from his mother's death, but he also had a history of making shady deals with Germany and Austria, which made him extremely unpopular. Number 4. Sweden. In 2000, Sweden got a new king, and his name was Carl XVI Gustaf. He became famous around the world for his eccentric personality and for being a huge fan of both motorcycles and sailing. But his rise to power was a lot less fun, you see, before he took the throne. The country was being ruled by his grandfather, Gustav VI, who had taken the throne back in 1950. For a while, everything seemed fine, but then rumors started to spread about him having a number of mistresses. And while this wasn't a problem in itself, Gustav wouldn't even acknowledge these women or the children they had together. He even went as far as to have several of them secretly lobotomized without telling anyone. So when he died in 1973, there was no real debate about whether his brother, Carl XVI Gustaf, should take the throne or not. Number 3. Japan. Japan has had a number of powerful female rulers throughout its history, but none more powerful than Himiko. She ruled the country sometime between the 3rd and 4th century, and according to legend, she had the power to control the weather. When she sneezed, it rained. When she laughed, it snowed. And when she shed a single tear, the river flowed backwards. Now, obviously, this doesn't mean that she literally had supernatural powers, but rather that she lived during a time when people didn't really understand the science behind such phenomena. Still, though, nobody knows exactly how she managed to pull off such elaborate tricks, but some believe that she may have used early forms of irrigation and flood control to influence the weather. Others believe she may have faked these events, or at least exaggerated them, to seem more powerful than she actually was. Either way, she eventually pissed off one of her advisors named Otono Woineng, and he ended up killing her. Number 2. Haiti. François Duvalier was a dictator who ruled Haiti from 1957 to 1971. He became known as Papa Doc to the masses, and he gained both power and money through voodoo, which he used to both help and harm people. There were even rumors that he kept a zombie farm, but as he grew older, he started to lose control of the country. People were starting to turn against him, and it seemed as if his days were numbered. So in order to secure his legacy, he wrote a constitution that would allow his son, Jean-Claude, to take over once he died. And so in 1971, Francois died and Jean-Claude, also known as Baby Doc, took over. But he was never really accepted by the people. He tried to leave the country and seek asylum in France, but he was forced to return. And shortly after that, he was overthrown and sent into exile. Number 1, the Ottoman Empire. For over 600 years, the Ottoman Empire was ruled by a series of sultans, but the last one might just have been the most infamous. His name was Mehmed the Conqueror, and he took the throne in 1444. Within a year of taking the throne, he began his conquest of Constantinople, a city that had previously been sacked by the Byzantines, Romans, and Goths. But by the mid-1400s, it was being defended by the Turks, despite having inferior numbers. Mehmed managed to defeat the Turkish army and capture the city. He then went on to conquer Belgrade. But his next campaign resulted in him losing much of his navy and his life. To this day, he remains the only sultan to have been killed in battle. Do you think any of these leaders deserve to be assassinated? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to stay tuned for more.